Hi, my name is Roland Eva, and today I'd like to talk to you about how to tell your inspiring personal story. Now, if you've been watching my videos or reading my blogs, you'll know that I go on about storytelling all the time. Now, you might be asking yourself, why? What's the big deal with storytelling, Roland? Well, here's the simple reality. Storytelling, or your inspirational personal story, is your competitive advantage. Your story is the fastest way to create a lasting impression, an emotional connection with your ideal customer. And your story is the best way to demonstrate your expertise without boasting or bragging. So your ability to tell your inspirational personal story is critical to your business success. So you might be asking yourself, how do you tell a personal story, right? Or how do you tell a great story? Because, hey, last time I checked, most people didn't study screenwriting. Yeah? So how do you tell an interesting story? Here's the good news. There's a simple 5-step system that I'm going to show you how to use in this video. So step 1 is setting. Step 2 is character. Step 3 is challenge. Step 4 is solution. And step 5 is outcome. So what do all those words mean, right? Well, as you know, all great stories have a beginning, middle and end. And as you also know, every great story begins with once upon a time. Even my 3.5-year-old daughter knows this. She'll take a book and just look at the pictures and immediately start once upon a time and then start telling me what she's seeing. So how can you use that story introduction to tell your inspiring personal story? And how can you use it in a way that doesn't sound crazy? Well, let's just have a look at that. Once upon a time, yeah? Well, once upon a time, there was a middle manager who got fired because he punched his boss in the face in the middle of an open plan office. Now, how about that for a story introduction? Doesn't that immediately want you to know why? Doesn't that immediately ask you what happened next? Yeah? So once upon a time, there was a middle manager who got fired because he punched his boss in the face in the middle of an open plan office. And then you can go on to say, although that happened 10 years ago, or 2 years ago, whenever it was, although that happened 2 years ago, I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was a warm sunny afternoon in June, or it was, the 15th of June date. And the results had just come in. I'd made the company £10 million, and I was overjoyed. And then I looked in my inbox and got an email from my boss telling me that I wasn't pulling my weight, that I wasn't working hard enough, and that things had to improve. Yeah? So I hope you can see just immediately how you can tell the story starting with something as simple as once upon a time. So why have I called that setting? I've called it the setting because every great story starts with a place and a time. So how did that story start? Once upon a time, a middle manager, so in this instance it talks about who got fired, what happened, because he's punched his boss in the face in the middle of an open plan office. It then jumps into, so you know where it was, in an office. It then jumps into the time. It was this date, and this is why I did it. So that's how you can start your inspiring personal story. You don't need to make it complicated. You don't need to think, long and hard about it. You're just describing what happened in a particular moment. So what moment do you choose? You choose the moment when something changed. Yeah, that's where your story starts, in that moment of change, that moment of decision. Yeah? What was it about that moment that was significant? Why did something change? Yeah? What was it? What outside force pushed you, forced you to make a change in your life? Describe it, tell me about it, because chances are it was a painful moment and you can still visualize it, you can still describe it in great detail. So do, because that's what's going to immediately carry your audience with you, whether it's a viewer, if it's a video, or a reader, if it's a blog, yeah? So, you've got to be honest with yourself and with your audience and use words that they can see, hear, touch and feel. Yeah? Talk about your anger. Talk about, how you wanted to calm down but couldn't, your hands were shaking, your stomach was knotted, whatever, yeah? Describe that moment in vivid detail. How do you do that? You first have to, imagine that moment in your own mind. Well, if it was a significant moment in your life, that shouldn't be that difficult. Like I was saying in the fictional story, it happened 10 years ago, but I can still remember it as if it was yesterday. We all have moments in our lives that were like that. The emotion from that moment still stays with us to this day. So, imagine it, see it in your own mind, and then write it down. So, step 2 is character. Every story has at least one character in it. So, let's go back to our first story, our Once Upon a Time. Yeah? Once upon a time, a middle manager punched his boss in the face. Well, guess what? That immediately has 2 characters. It has our hero, the middle manager, and his boss. Yeah? 2 characters. So, every story has at least one character. That is the hero of the story, the person telling the story. And you are the hero in your own story. And that's great, yeah? So, what are the outside forces that cause you to do something else? Yeah? Well, who are the other characters in your story? Is it your boss? Is it your family? Is it your, I talk about my daughter all the time. Why? Because she has such a profound impact on my life. Yeah? Her birth caused me to do so many things, so many amazing things, so many things that I'm proud of. So, she's a character in my story. She's a significant character in my story. So get clear on the other characters, the other influences in your story, and why you would want to talk about them or not talk about them. So step 3 is the struggle. Now, this is the most interesting part of the story, and this is what hooks a reader for the length of a novel. This is what keeps you watching a movie till the end. Yeah, this is what hooks you for an entire TV series. Yeah, this is when you're asking yourself the question, will the hero get what he wants? It's as simple as that. Yeah, what obstacle is in the hero's way? Yeah, and what does the hero have to do to get around it, to defeat the dragon? Yeah, to slay the lion. To win the respect of the girl's father. Yeah, whatever it is. But the struggle is what people, they love to hear about it. They hate trying to solve the struggles in their own life, but they love reading about, watching how other people solve them in their lives. Here's the important part. When you talk about the struggles that you went through, when you can talk about them honestly, then you earn massive trust from your audience. Why? Because most people hide the struggles. Most people like to say, I decided I wanted to become a copywriter. The next day I did it. Now I'm great. Yeah? Well, that's just not true. Yeah? I decided I wanted to become a copywriter. I tried and failed. I tried and failed a bit more. I got some training. I tried and failed a bit more. Eventually I was able to do it. Yeah, that's the reality of what life is like. So when you have the courage to talk about the struggles that you went through, and you can describe them in vivid detail so that your audience, your community can see and feel them, then they're on that journey with you. Because they're on that journey with you, you inspire them to raise their game. You inspire them to change their lives. And if you can inspire them to change their lives, then they will want to learn from you. They will want to do business with you. Yeah? That's the competitive advantage that you have in your business. So step 4 is the solution. This is whatever it is that you're offering. This can be, private mentorship. It can be a workshop. It could be a product. Yeah? It doesn't really matter what the thing is. Yeah? Now, I say the thing because it is just the thing that gives them the transformation in their life. Now, the reason why I say it's the thing is that they don't necessarily care what the thing is. They want to know enough detail so that they know it actually exists. Yeah? Like, what are you buying? A 2-day workshop. Okay, I understand that. Or a 12-month mentorship. I understand that too. Or a 27 CD set. Okay, I get it. Yeah? So they understand what they're buying. They understand, but do they actually care like all of the detail of the 27 CDs? Now, some people will, but most people won't. And the reason why they don't care is that they want the outcome. They want the result of buying your product. So that brings us nicely onto step 5, which is the outcome. Yeah? So the outcome is the benefit of your product or solution. That's what people want. They want the destination. They want the holiday. Yeah? The aeroplane is your solution. The aeroplane is the thing that takes them from where they are to where they want to go. But what they want and what they want to hear about is the solution. Yeah? Are you selling a sandy white beach and 30 degrees sunshine and as many drinks as you want all day long for a 3-week holiday? Yeah? What is the beautiful outcome? Are you selling financial freedom? Are you selling the love of your life? Are you selling do what you love and get well paid for it? Yeah? What is the outcome that you're selling? So describe that. Now, how do you describe it in a way that's meaningful? Well, again, it goes back to more storytelling. So you describe the outcome through your own story. Yeah? How were you able to achieve the outcome? How good does it feel now that you have the outcome? But you also describe the outcome in the stories of the people who you've helped. So testimonials, success stories. Yeah? So if you can show that ordinary people, other ordinary people, are able to achieve this outcome, and they're willing to describe how great that feels. Hey, I finally have financial freedom. I now have the love of my life. I now have lost the weight I always wanted. I now have got the job I always dreamed of. I now have started a consulting business and I can do what I love and be well paid for it. Yeah, as long as they're willing to describe that and how good it feels, then you're painting the picture of the outcome in great detail. And that is what makes your audience want what you have. So, just to recap, that's the 5-step process that you need to go through to tell your inspirational personal story. So remember, it starts like all great stories with once upon a time. So that's the setting, yeah? Once upon a time, and you need to describe what that day and where it was. So once upon a time, something happened. There was a, yeah? And like I said, something happened, so it's the setting. So step 2 is the character. There's always at least one character in a story. Chances are there's more than one, yeah? So a middle manager who punched his boss in the face. Yeah, so there's 2 characters. So step 2 is character. Step 3 is the struggle. What is preventing the hero from getting what he wants? Step 4 is the solution. So this is what you are ultimately selling. Is it a workshop? Is it a CD set? Yes? What is it that you're selling? But don't talk about it in such great detail, because what your audience cares about is the outcome, which is step 5. That's what they want. That's the destination that they want, the transformation that your product, your help, your service is able to give them. So, if you found this useful, then please leave a comment below. And if this can help someone you know, then please share it with them. And until next time, carpe diem.